Greetings adventurers and welcome to Not Loot Goblin Marketplace. That's right, I'm on my second channel covering the recently lost civilization of 4chan. There are many buried treasures that I want to make sure are not lost to time, and one of my personal favorites is the story of Gormok, Sourbrow, adventurer and food critic, and honestly a must include for my next campaign. Let's jump right into the action. Bjork, old and grizzled veteran of a dozen wars and hundreds of raids. Sit down at a local human tavern. Call for a waitress in my guttural, harsh, orcish tongue. Demand to be served. She nervously hands me the menu. Can't read. Rip it to shreds and order ham hock served over a red-eye mushroom gravy, rose-cut roasted russet potatoes with scallions, garlic and onion sauteed peas, and a side order of pistachio biscotti. Wait for a good spell. Become impatient. Waitress finally arrives with the food. Cut through ham hock, juices still in the center of the meat, not rested, rubbery texture. Gravy tasted like plaster, it's just cornstarch, water, and oil. Try the potatoes, not russet, but red skin potatoes, waxy as hell, no subtle sweetness. They didn't even use scallions but raw green onions. Flavor overwhelms everything. Urge to kill and pillage rising. Try the peas, they were adequate. Calm down a bit. Bite into the biscotti to finish this awful meal. Almonds in my biscotti. Go berserk, flip table, and burn down the tavern. Rate it 1 axe out of 5. Dear God, this man's a legend. I can just imagine seeing the orc master chef just muttering to himself leaving the tavern as he finds his next establishment to terrorize. Taste of the foul ham hock and green onions still lingers in my jowls. Go to the local dwarf cafe to wash the taste away. Knock the door off its hinges. Invoke ancient challenge to the blood enemies of all orcdom. Serve me the finest drinks and sundries to soothe my weary palate, lest you dishonest your forefathers and forfeit your beards in shame. I throw my battle axe at their feet. All the dwarves take notice. The owner of the cafe steps forward and accepts my challenge by throwing his hammer at my feet as per tradition. A dwarven maiden cautiously guides me to their special seat and table in the private dining room. Stonework, wrought in iron and brass. The maid first brings me a selection of drinks, a brew of blackest oil, their craft stout and elderberry wine, along with the plate of fresh buttery croissants. I grab the dwarven maid by her throat. You dare serve me red wine with coffee? By the blood of Rugarth, the Indomitable. What's next? Pair red wine with fish? I should cut off your head where you stand for this treachery. The cafe owner places his firm grip on my arm and politely tells me to refrain my onslaught until I've tried their dwarven concoctions in their specific order. Oh, this is rich. Their skulls will decorate my pike by sundown. I sipped the coffee, dark rich with a plethora of different bitter and earthen notes assaulted my taste buds. Quite nice. Then I tasted the wine. My eyes widened. The different notes of earthen bitterness dance alongside the wine's merry medley of zest, sweetness, tannin dryness, tart, and fruity body. Each different note of flavor and taste perfectly accentuating the other. I carefully savored each note and taste before washing it down with the strong dwarven stout. Next came the croissants. As I bit into the pastry, I cannot help but notice 40, no 50, wrong again, 88 individual layers of buttery and flaky texture. Not expecting such delicate gentleness from the dwarf's obviously calloused and clubbed hands. I finished the food and beverages brought before me. The cafe was dead silent, awaiting my judgment. Without a word, I stand up and walk towards my axe that is just jutting out of the splintered wooden floor planks, picking it up and leaving the establishment in peace. The joyous cheers echoes through the cafe behind me. Any dwarf that can make wine and coffee go together deserves to live. The croissant was mediocre though. Thirst is quenched, but my stomach yearns for a heartier affair. Head west to the local and small pizzeria shack, heard a trollkin is chef there. Burst into the entrance, noses bombarded with halitosis, body and feet odors, pungent garlic, and moldy grime. Greet the troll chef with a hearty haymaker to the jawline and a few coins and teeth. The troll returns hospitality with a good uppercut. What a swell guy. Politely ask for the house special and he obliges. Within minutes, the troll brought out a gangrene mushroom and foot cheese pizza made with troll blood, paste, and topped with boar bacon and alligator stripes. Nobody here appreciates good troll cuisine like an orc can. The troll blood paste was sharp, sweet with the right mix of zest and subtle hint of iron and blood. The foot cheese was absolutely divine, nutty, salty, poignant, and very, very rich. It demanded careful and slow attention to savor every note of flavor as it gradually sieves through all 5 taste sensations from bittersweet to creamy savoriness. The gangrene mushroom had an excellent meaty texture. The troll chef boasts that he dried the mushrooms for 40 days to concentrate and intensify their sharp, bitter savoriness, accentuating well with the smoky bacon and subtle alligator meat flavors. Perfectly proportioned and well balanced, but the crust was stale, dry, and hard. Absolutely inexcusable. I grabbed the troll by the throat and threw him into the kitchen, lunging at him as his misshapen lump of a body hits the hanging pots and pans, immediately dismembering his left arm with my battle axe.
You dare serve me unworthy crust? What do you take me for, a fool? What is this crust made of?
Ringwort millet, but please have mercy. I had to cut corn. As he writhes in pain.
No excuses. The crust is the foundation of the entire dish. No crust, it just becomes a shitty casserole. Do you serve pizza or casserole, troll? Answer me.
Pizza?
Speak louder. The foul taste of your crust has made me hard of hearing.
Pizza.
Good, good. For now on, Trollkin, bake your pizza dough out of the freshest evergreen or staunch mountain wheat, so this grave mistake does not repeat itself, or the next limb I dismembers your head. Swear to me, troll.
Yes, I swear.
Good. I rate your establishment 2 axes out of 5, and here's a generous 35% tip for your excellent service. Farewell, and I pray our next visit ends in more favorable terms.
Effin' ringwort millet, really? That stuff isn't even fit for slaves. After a good afternoon of wholesome pillaging and warring against some piss-poor human kingdom with my warband, work up an enormous appetite. The only place in town that seems to serve enough quantities of meat to sate an orcish hunger is an elven pub and steakhouse. Effin' knife ears, I'm gonna regret this. As I slowly enter the eating establishment, the minstrel stops playing his, I can only guess, our happy orc murdering songs, and all the patrons and servers turned their head towards my direction. Their gaze were sharper than their ears. Some were even brandishing their bows and arrows. I walked confidently to an empty seat. All the patrons aloofly and silently parted my way, isolating me one table, dagger-like eyes still probing my orcish features. Effin' knife ears. I beckon an elven wench to serve me. He hastily drops a glass of iced river water with a little bit of mint and lemon wedge, and a menu without so much as eye contact or a friendly greeting. I noticed it was a kid's menu. Nice big pictures, no words. I made my order, owlbear tartare with raw basilisk egg yolk and tartar sauce, on the side for appetizer, medium rare dry-aged minotaur calf porterhouse steak with caramelized shallots, rare pancetta and baked beans, and to finish off with an asparagus and dryad root salad with the Wendigo wild wine saffron vinaigrette, paired with a 200-year-old slow-aged Maquis berry wine. I could almost hear the head elven chef choke on his tongue when he heard my order. He better not screw up on my steak, burn my shallots, or ruin my wine saffron vinaigrette with malt vinegar. I swear to Morgoth, I will burn this place down and salt the earth for miles around so nothing grows and nothing can be cooked. The elves all dot about, whispering in their strange tongues, probably insulting me as I wait for my meal. I wish I could run the heft of my axe through every one of these backstabbing, effeminate bastards, but that would ruin the atmosphere for this meal. The elf finally brings forth my food and drink after an eternity of waiting. The tartare was smooth and had a nice buttery richness. The chef must have added kidney suet. Clever. It paired well with the slight fishy amphibian taste of the basilisk egg yolk, accentuating well with the tartar sauce. Next came the steak. The meat fell effortlessly off the bone, and it was well marbled with a creamy rich fat, so tender that every piece melted in my mouth. The shallots were cooked just right, not burnt or too raw, providing a nice mild sweetness to complement the savory experience. The pancetta and baked beans were nothing spectacular, but were fresh and adequate, not those salted and jarred kind. And then the salad. Asparagus was mildly bitter and earthly, paired very nicely with the mild sweet peppery and crispiness of the sliced dryad roots. Love the contrast. Although the vinaigrette in my opinion has too sharp a citrus and tarty zing, almost overwhelmed the flavor of the entire dish. Almost. Could do with a teaspoon less wine and a pinch more saffron, but overall the meal was quite nice. The Maquis berry wine had a very heavy body for a wine, almost tasted like a Dwarven stout in some aspects. Mild sweetness, sharp tartness, and extremely dry, creating a good contrast with the salad. I finished my meal and was about to head off. Then I was stopped by a burly elven fellow with a cigar.
Oi mate, you forgot to pay for your meal. Being alive is payment enough, knife ear. Step aside or tonight bathes in the blood of your kin.
No, you daft bastard. You don't understand. Nobody leaves here pub without paying. Not even some pig-faced greenskin who thinks he's be-all and end-all of fine dining.
I can brush such empty profanity aside, but my patience wanes. Move or all.
The elven prick lands a cheap shot in my eye. I stagger back a little. I pounce on him in retaliation, and a brawl breaks out. Arrows guided by drunken eyes were flying in every direction. 3 or 4 of the elusive bastards were all over me. We fought all night and day. Elves were smashed across the floorboard, elves were hanging from the ceiling, and elves were passed out in their own vomit by the windows. Beaten and battered, the burly elf approaches me, one eye bruised and blackened shut, as I lay top of the pile of broken elven bodies, tired from the whole humbug.
So, how many axes does this place get, you barbaric green-skinned savage?
Spitting out a tooth.
4 axes. You knife-eared son of a bitch. Would have been 3, but the brawl was a nice attraction.
We shook hands and parted ways. For an elf, he wasn't half bad company. And thus ends the tale of probably the best food critic in all the land. This is someone who I hope you guys add to your next campaign. Throughout this thread too, there's a lot of funny one-off characters, but none stood out as much as this man. We don't really know if the kingdom of 4chan is gone for good, but there's so many treasures within this kingdom that I'm going to be visiting from time to time, even if I have to keep looking through archive after archive to find these stories. Overall, I think this thread had a lot of funny food-related characters, with obviously the Orc Master Chef being the biggest of them, but there's another quick one that I just want to shout out. A restaurant owned by an ancient Lich that prides itself on historically accurate dishes from long since forgotten kingdoms. The Lich actually just owns hundreds of ancient precursor cookbooks. He was just too busy figuring out how to make his business partner his phylactery to learn how to formally cook. But honestly, an ancient Lich or any mythical creature that guards knowledge and it just being ancient recipes is something that I find pretty amusing. And that's another thing that I think would fit really well in any campaign. Just some fun NPCs to have whenever the party's like, hey, it's time to eat, we want to go to an establishment, who can we find there? Try hitting them with the Orc Food Critic or the Ancient Cookbook Lich, and I'm sure they're going to get a big laugh out of it. And make sure to like and subscribe to the second channel. We're trying to get it monetized, and I want to do more short stories like this that are more green text oriented or just fun like meme ones. We might even do some compilations when the story isn't long enough to make it its own dedicated video, but I think this one is just long enough to make it the first one in the series. So thanks for stopping by, and I hope to see you in the next one. Farewell for now.